This podcast will hopefully contain
fuck.
words or statements obscene, pornographic, or immoral.
Oh, I just fucking triggered it 3 times. So you gotta wait for it to
it's like
play out.
looping.
Yeah.
We had this so cool when we weren't even trying.
I know.
Oh, it's fine. It's better this way. It shows how incompetent we are. Oh man, listen to those drums. That's amazing.
It sounds like old school recording. Got all that
It's
fucking
like-
reverb and delay on it.
Yeah, they forgot to turn the delay off and then they mastered it. Well, that was cool if it would have worked, but it was still cool.
Well,
That was
I
our
don't
first
know.
time trying it.
You know what? That's why I got this one.
Yeah,
In
awesome.
failure.
So,
Oh my god.
I just jumped on with Curtis not even 2 minutes ago, and we're already rolling. We usually chat for a couple minutes before we start, but
Oh yeah, I got shit I want to talk to you about.
he has he got his keyboard effects working, so this will be the first official podcast with effects. So he controls all that. I have nothing to do with it. So I'm a little scared. I'm not gonna lie.
It's amazing. I doubt we'll use them as much as I want, but you
Can
never know.
we get a sampling of first, like how much stuff did you program in for the podcast?
We had tried this before, and so I had like stuff pulled. I had like eight. Some of them we might use on the "This Is What We Heard."
Okay.
But
if I find stuff, can I send you stuff to use too?
oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
See, I'm excited. You can't control this. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, this should be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Well, the first thing I wanted to talk about, if you don't mind, and this is, I know we kind of get into chicken discussions on here from time to time, and I thought that this was a worthwhile thing to start off with because I'm really excited about it. So I think I talked about some of the new chickens we got a couple months back on here, and we named 2 of them after Pee Wee Herman characters, Miss Yvonne and Dottie. So Miss Yvonne, she started laying eggs about 2 weeks ago, and this has happened with some of our other chickens too. Like I don't know if you've experienced this, but like once they start laying eggs, kind of like their personalities dramatically change. Like either ones that are maybe a little crazy before they start laying eggs, they like super mellow out, and actually like complete vice versa that happens as well. But Miss Yvonne was like very shy and timid, and she would kind of not like run from us when we get up to her, but she just was very skittish. And she started laying eggs like 2 weeks ago, and now she's so calm, and she's officially, I'm so excited. She's officially the first chicken that I've had that will let me pet them like as long as I want to.
Oh wow. Yeah, ours are a little skittish right now still.
Yeah, she loves to be petted so much. Like I can see, like, because Penny, our other chicken Penny who died, who was like my favorite, she would let you pet her for maybe like 5-10 seconds, and then she'd kind of be over it and she'd like move on. But Miss Yvonne, she will just sit there, and I can get up under her wings and like rub her belly and her chest, and she just sits there.
Oh, now is she giving you permission?
She does. She just gives me permission. It's completely consensual. But she does. She like makes the cutest little like talking noises as you like pet her. It's pretty damn cute.
Dude, so ours are so rambunctious right now. I'm hoping that when they start laying eggs, that they will calm the fuck down.
Yeah, they probably should. Most
After
likely.
the great chicken massacre of 2023.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's Drek. Loki was happy.
Fuck. Yeah.
But
yeah,
dude, I'm stoked because once again, we didn't get ours for eggs. I mean, they as you guys who don't have chickens or have actually been around them, they are so fucking funny, and they have personalities like you would not believe. The fact that you're going through this is just, I know everybody laughs at us, but dude, they are fucking badass pets. Like they are something to fucking watch and just experience. Like, cause they are fucking out there. And the whole pecking order, like all that shit and all those like little terms that come from chickens, it's all real.
Yeah.
Like you can watch them fucking fight to get in pecking order. Like it's established every morning. As soon as the fucking gates open, they're out and somebody's, setting up and getting their dominance over the pack for the day.
And what's interesting too, to add to that, is in addition to the pecking order, there's also instances where our pecking order changes based on the activity that I'm providing to them. So like if we're like feeding them a specific type of treat,
right?
Because like one thing we've been trying to do is like sort of establish patterns with like how we do things with them. So like we can kind of control their positioning in the yard. So like they get like a certain type of treat when it's like time to go to bed. They know it's like, because if like we let them out in the morning and we're going out for the evening, but they would still be out naturally on their own, we need to get them inside and get them locked up. So we like give them certain like high priority treats when they know it's like time to go to bed, when it's not time to go to bed.
Wow. All right, we need that.
Yeah, so there's like certain treats we give them to kind of get certain results. Well, anyway, Iggy,
can I tell you?
Uh-huh.
Our chickens get treats when we want to empty the refrigerator.
Well, yeah, I mean that's when we give them.
That's when they get their treats.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Anyway,
cut up like the scraps from cutting up vegetables and all that.
Pizza.
Oh, we haven't given them pizza, but yeah. So Iggy, who's our little Easter egger, she's got the like little Abraham Lincoln beard and stuff. She's super cool. She's lowest in the pecking order always. She gets kind of like bullied on a little bit by the other ones. It's gotten a lot better, but she's actually been lately kind of sticking up for herself more and kind of taken up for herself better. But she's faster than the other ones. And what she's figured out is like she definitely uses that to her advantage, being lowest on the totem pole, because she will actually, most of the chickens really love blueberries, but she likes them more than any of the other ones. And when she knows the blueberries are out, she's like hyperspace, like flying around between the other chickens. Like if I will drop blueberry on the ground, the other ones can't even see where it's rolling before she's in there and like gobbling that shit up.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So, but it's only with blueberries. Like if it's any other type of treat, she like always gets run out. But something about blueberries, she's like, I will fight to the death to get these blueberries.
Oh my God, that is awesome. Yeah, I don't know if we do, because we buy a lot of fresh produce. So they do get a lot of fresh produce, but they do also get little scraps.
Gotcha.
But it's not an activity day. It's more of us just trying to fucking clean out the refrigerator.
Yeah, I mean, we mostly give them like I was saying, like, like if you shave a carrot, give them like carrot peelings and different stuff like that. But we do give their high priority treat is we give them mealworms.
Oh, fucking Daddy Moorbucks over there.
Well, this is like a big bag of like the dried ones. They're not that expensive. It's like $10 for like a giant bag that lasts for like months.
All right, maybe I'm looking, or ours are fucking more expensive over here. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bitches are expensive,
but you can get chickens to do anything with mealworms. Like, yeah, pretty much.
Wash your car.
So just so people understand, like when we do talk about chickens, we, outside of the podcast, we could probably be doing way more productive things like planning stuff for the band and like doing other shit like that. But we're just sending each other chicken memes all day.
Yes. Dude, chicken, like I said, we can get picked on and laughed at, but the chickens are badass. Like yeah. I'm fucking, that you sent the fucking post 2 days ago, which was funny, but I was more excited to go onto the site that actually produced that little meme to see what chickens they had for sale.
That's hilarious.
Fucking such a knob. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
I don't know. I guess for people who have never been around chickens or like don't understand it, I think the best way I can describe it is like really chickens are the perfect combination of all the good qualities of a dog and all the good qualities of a cat, like mixed together.
Except they
And
shit everywhere.
yeah, and they do shit everywhere. That is that. But they're like a cat and a dog combined, but even funnier than that. I don't know. I've had pretty much every pet you can have, basically, and I have to say, as much as I do love dogs, I don't know. I might like chickens more. I have to say it.
Loki listens to the podcast, so I will plead the fifth.
It's different. It's different, but
it is. It is.
But
so
there is a
different.
special quality about chickens that, like, I don't know. It's just you have to.
Dude, it's like watching TV for me. Like I can go out
Yeah.
and watch the fucking chickens and be super fucking content. Except now we've built this fucking battlement so the dog can't get to them. But so now like I have to like kind of peek in over this fucking metal whatever you want to call it.
Gotcha.
Roofing I have in place.
Is that me or you?
I don't know.
Oh, it's
the government. It's the government.
I mean, chickens
it's chicken government.
When your chickens have gotten to the point where they know that you're basically like the leader, you're the pack leader or whatever, and they know you're bringing them food and all that, there is nothing as good and as heartwarming and hilarious as when you walk out and your chickens are kind of minding their own business across the yard, and all of a sudden they see you and they come running more excited than anything has ever gotten excited to come and see me before.
Dude, I've seen videos of people getting mauled by their chickens because they'll start throwing out the scratch and the chickens go fucking ballistic.
Oh yeah.
See, those days would be nice, but once again, Loki the Terminator would have none of that in our backyard right now. Ever again.
All right. Well, I listened to the podcast with you and Gavin this morning.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to give a couple 2 cents on some of the things you guys talked about.
And fuck you, Gene. You need to send your list instead of making fun of our list. You need to bring shit to the fucking whatever table.
Oh, and by the way, I'll actually defend you and Gavin about that, because when Gene made that comment, I was like, oh my God, I was like cringed to listen to that podcast, because I was like, oh my God, what kind of horrible shit did they say? And I'm like, I was coming on here to pretty much defend like 80% of what you guys said.
Well, I'm sure there's some turds, but I mean, everybody's got it. Once again, it's so subjective. But,
okay. Well, I'm glad you bring that up, because I was going to kind of end with this, but since you just brought it up, I'll start. I know that
it's going to be quick.
I know that we pretty much set this from the get-go, that obviously using the word perfect when describing a record is, like you said, it's like all subjective. So it's just like personal preference, and it's just a fun thing to like what records are perfect. But I think that with that being said, there are like 2 categories, and there may even be more categories, but I was thinking about it. There's like universally accepted perfect record, and then there's like personal preference perfect record. And I think
first Boston album.
Personal preference?
No, I was
universally
going universally. Yeah.
So like we were saying, like Rain and Blood, I think was like a good like jumping off point that I think that falls into category of universally accepted perfect records. And then I think a lot of the other ones we've talked. What was that?
I just dropped it's twoo from Blazing Saddles.
Do it again.
In agreement with you.
Nice. Yeah, and I think most of the ones we've been talking about are more, they're like personal preference perfect records, but we have had a little bit of consensus with people agreeing. So at least minimally universally accepted based in our friend circles, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
You know me, I'm a dick anyway.
But I think what really hit me, that I was like, oh, we need, there's definitely like a distinction here. There's like Rain and Bloods, and then there's personal preference records, and what I might think should be universally accepted, other people might be like, you're fucking crazy, that album's garbage. So, but what made me think about this is Trisha actually kind of was playing along a little bit, and she gave me one of her perfect records. And admittedly, I don't know much about this band, and I have heard like the hit songs, but have never listened to them much beyond that. But is The Cult, and
I was never a fan.
she told me that their album Love, she thinks is like, to her, that's a perfect record. And I don't know, like, she definitely has probably even a more eccentric, varied taste in bands and genres than even maybe what I do. And I was like, okay, well, she's claiming that as a perfect record. Like, I trust her. I'm gonna put this on and give it a shot. And
his butt plug just fell out.
Yeah, actually, that was my bong fell over. Again.
I don't even have a sound effect for that one.
Yeah, I don't even. There's analog effects over here on my side.
Here, I got this one for you.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I was wondering if you had any toilet stuff going on over there.
Well, it's a fucking potty cast. Of course, we have a toilet.
So I listened to the Cult Love album, and I got to about song 4, and that's when I had the realization that, like, oh yeah, the perfect record is very subjective. And because I was like, this record kind of sucks.
Sorry, Trish. You're getting no.
And she wasn't even mad about it or bummed. I was just like, yeah, I was like, I'm stoked that you think this is a perfect record for you. Like, I'm excited about that for you, but like, this would never fit in my criteria for perfect record. And not that it was even bad, but like, I don't know, it was just kind of like, I was like, this is boring to me. I just don't.
It's not your bag of mealworms.
Yeah, it's not. It's not at all. But with that being said, you guys did talk about, what's funny is Gavin hit on a lot of records that, since you and I did the first episode, are ones that I have thought about, like, are these records perfect? Or these ones that I would put on my list? And really, honestly,
make his head any bigger. His fucking flowing locks already irritate the fuck out of me. Let alone making his head bigger.
No, but I mean, really, like, I would say like 80% of the stuff he named is stuff that was on my list of like, can I call this a perfect record for myself? And I haven't really been able to necessarily concretely say that for any of these picks, but it was just interesting that we had a lot of similar ones. Like, he picked Billy from Lawnmower Death, and I was like, man, that's a really good call. That could definitely be on my list. But I 100% agree with him that the Kids in America cover kills that record, because, well, for one thing, they had already they covered it before. So it's like, why do it again? Even though it's like, maybe they like that version better or something, but like, put like one more good original song on. And yeah, I think if you don't put that song on there, Billy's a perfect record.
See, and that was where I was like, I give it a pass because I love the song. So even though the cover's not strong, like, I can still make it through it. But no, I understand the position, but of course it is my job to push back and say, I don't know if that's my mic or if that's your mic. It's probably me. I don't know.
It's you.
Nice.
But and I think that cover is good. Like, I like that song as well, and they do that song really great. And I'm not even hating on the song. It's just, for that record to be perfect for me, that not being on there would have helped to get to that point.
I do agree, but like I said, I can give it a pass because I've always loved the song. I love the original. I love every fucking cover of it. Like, is it the Muffs do a fucking awesome one from the Clueless soundtrack? Like there's a ton of versions of that and they're all fucking good. The song's solid.
Yeah.
Ooh, so someday it'll jump us into the perfect song.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Well, and then so another one that Dave said, but Gavin agreed with, and I also 100% agree with, and this will ruffle some feathers, I'm sure, with like the diehards. I can start this out by saying I love this band a lot, but they were never like a top tier of punk bands for me, and I do love them, but they weren't like something I know about all their records like some people do. But I still, with that being said, I will still say that Everything Sucks by the Descendants is 100% their best record.
Really?
Yeah, and
I really need to listen to this fucking
and
this
I
record.
know that the diehard Descendants fans who are like all about the earlier like emo kind of vibe of the band or like whatever, like I get why they like that, but I think Everything Sucks is the only perfect record that band has.
Really?
Yeah, in my opinion. And I like their old stuff too, don't get me wrong. I just don't think any of those early records are a beginning to end straight through listen, like being hyped the whole time.
Really?
Yeah. No.
Oh my God. See, all for me, like that one could roll back to back to back to back to back to back. And I think it was something we talked about that you and I didn't talk about, but Gavin and I, like, is the fact that when you're done that perfect album, where to next? Yeah. Like, can you find something that follows up, or do you just start the record back over? Yeah. You know, and it is like, because I started thinking about that because there are certain bands, but then I'm just like, more is it the style of music that you can't just jump straight into something else after you've listened to it. Like it just, there's nothing to actually put it in the same category, I guess, or categorically, there's not a whole lot of that caliber and quality that can follow that up. So you end up listening to that record again instead of trying to find something else.
Well, I can give a perfect example for me personally of what you just exactly described. So I know you know this obviously, but for people listening, I actually started a new job at the beginning of this year, and part of my job allows me to kind of like ride around during the day with one of my coworkers, and they we were just kind of trying to figure out like what's a common band that we can kind of come together on so we can like listen to something we both like in the car. And we actually came on Weezer, that like we could both like get down on some Weezer. So
you and Clevenger.
Yeah. Clevenger would not want to be in this car. So what I figured out though is that I thought I consider myself like a pretty average to bigger size Weezer fan, but apparently I'm not at all, because there is so much music that they have put out that I was completely unfamiliar with. Like there was seriously, and to be fair, I don't like religiously follow their career or anything, but they have like 8 or 9 records that I didn't even know existed. So we've been like, and they know all their music. So they're like, okay, well, they were like really excited. Like, okay, well, you like Weezer. Let's see. I want to get your opinion on like this record and this record. So for the last 2 weeks, we've been kind of going through the entire Weezer discography. And the Blue record's definitely the one I'm most familiar with and the one I like the best. But, like I like the green one. There's the red ones that got some okay stuff. Make Believe's pretty good. So there's some in Pinkerton. So there's definitely good stuff in there, but I'm most familiar with the Blue record. And they like, honestly, it's kind of like I give them credit for continuing as a band and being creative and putting out music so consistently, but it's like, it must really fucking suck when your first album is your masterpiece.
Yeah. Yeah. I was left down by their fucking cover of whatever the Down in Africa song.
Yeah.
Like I was like, there was nothing special to it, much like the Billy version of
That's what
Kids in America.
that's what my coworker says, is that that cover doesn't even sound that different from the original, really. It's like they
No,
didn't,
it was like, well,
laserify it enough or something.
no, I was like, well, why in the fuck I'd just rather listen to the fucking original. If like there is no like no discernible variation to the point where you're like, oh, that's kind of cool how they changed that up. Just like, oh, it's the same fucking song.
Totally. And I mean, there's definitely some really cool songs on some of the other records, and like, you know, sounds like them, and it's cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think the whole point of me even bringing this up is that it comes back to basically, I know for a fact that the Blue record is a perfect record because I've heard all their other music now, and none of their other records are perfect at all.
Right. So I haven't, after I kind of lost interest even earlier than the other ones. After I think the second one was, I think I listened to, and it's like, whatever. Yeah, I think, but I guess is that how we rate, I guess, some of the bands? You know, here's a funny fallback one, is like when we were talking about Wrathchild and like how long they had to prep for that first album, and the second comes out, it's good, but it's like,
yeah,
you know, it was like, but you're not under the same time constraints, you know, writing the first record, I assume. First major label. I don't know their career prior to being on a major, but is there a career prior to the first major? Like, I don't know. I'm looking to you for answers.
I don't know.
Don't know. But it's like, you know, you have time, and you've kind of, I mean, maybe this is a good question. It's like with bands that matured, and we've talked about it, I guess, as well, but like bands that matured into like that perfect record versus, you know, because we used Age of Quarrel as one. Slayer, I guess you could say they did. Yeah. Hell Awaits and Haunting the Chapel prior to fucking Rain and Blood. So we have those. Yes, Gene, I want your fucking list, and I'm not going to any Queensryche record you put on there straight the fuck off. Operation Mindcrime is my favorite record of all time. I stood outside and waited for Geoff to sign my underwear in fucking Leesburg. The crowds were massive.
I'm still saying that was a model train show.
If they were hooked up like they were at the fucking K-pop concert, you just had to get your ticket early. Then you could have been number 7. It didn't matter how many people were at the model train show, making it look busy.
Well, speaking of Slayer, though, since you mentioned that, so Matt Powell had Seasons in the Abyss as a perfect record, and I kind of told him I agree with him that it's basically a perfect record, except for me, it can't be a perfect record because I don't really love the production on that record. And I think if the production on that was different, and not that it's a bad recording, but I don't know, there's just like a different quality to that where like maybe took away the heaviness a little bit. And I think it's
a little refined.
It's a little too, like, it's almost a perfect record for me. It's like a 9.7 out of 10, basically.
And you don't even have to take off Kids in America off of it.
No. I think everything else about that record, I 100% think it is perfect. Like, I think the songs are really good. I think the song order is really good. Just, yeah, it is really a killer record. So I hate to not jump on that bandwagon because I do really like it. But yeah, the recording for me on that one just always kind of, I don't know, it just didn't hit. It like Rain and Blood just like steamrolls your ass.
So
like recording wise, it's like really good recording, but it's just still has like that energy underneath.
It has a raw edge to it that, you know, that everything I ever listen, or I think most of the shit I listen to all has that raw edge. I don't like it like as raw as like Gabe and everyone did, like where the fucking, you know, the Bad Brains Roar tape and what was the other one he loved? Oh my God. Oh shit. I'm trying to think. He had one that he loved, and I was just like, it didn't compute in my head because he was so like deep and like he grew up in like such a metal household where every production, and maybe that's why maybe I've just said it out loud, where production, all those bands were produced well. And oh my God, I can't think of it. I want to say the first DRI one, but I don't think that's it. But he always loved the roller edge stuff where I needed a little production.
Gotcha.
Little.
Another one that Gavin said, and this one is another one I thought about before I listened to the podcast. I thought about this like a few days after we did the first one, but
I bet.
Boris the Sprinklers Suck. I was like, that's actually, I was like, because I was like, I don't know if it is perfect, but I haven't listened to it in a while, so I would have to give it another listen with the new sort of criteria we developed for this. But I think it'll still fit, and I also 100% agree with Butch on Sloppy Seconds Destroyed. That is definitely a perfect record, and also Dwarves Young and Good Looking. I definitely think that's a perfect
Yeah, what the fuck were we thinking?
By a landslide. And then I'm actually not familiar with the Veil album 4 a.m. Friday, but what I am familiar with is how much I like that band, and like, you're fucking dumb for not liking them.
I think the word Fruit Loopers keeps coming, so I must have made fun of them a lot. I'm not positive why. I'd probably just blame it on Rhodes overplaying the shit and I never wanting to hear it. Just like Operation Ivy. It was like, Jesus Christ, I'm just fucking, I've heard it.
And I mean,
like, it took me a while to listen to Operation Ivy and actually enjoy it instead of it being like crammed down your throat.
Damn, that's crazy. I've always liked Operation Ivy. I think I was like, they were in a skate video back in the days where I first heard them. And yeah, I was pretty much hooked on them from the get-go.
So did they get a pass? An easy pass into your life because they were in a video? I'm not picking, I'm asking.
No.
Because you think about it, like bands that were like on Skate Rock or Comps, they get a little bit easier pass because they've already made somebody's, I guess, list of bands that are listenable.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, there's probably a very large, I couldn't think of like a percentage, but there's a large percentage of the music I listen to that I was definitely introduced to that band through a skate video. And I think that that probably also having the memories of watching the video and those memories attached to hanging out with friends and skating and stuff probably cemented that more to me as like probably making like a perfect list. And it's perfect lead in one that I think he mentioned it, but you agreed with him. And I can't believe that this one slipped off of my radar to play this game, because I 100% agree. And it's No Effects Ribbed. I think that is 100% their best record. They have other good records as well, but Rib to me is the perfect record by them. And a big part of that is because I first was introduced to No Effects, and that particular album was like the whole soundtrack for a video. And I always associate that record with the memories of watching that skate video.
So I think that's funny that because we all agreed on it. It was like, in everybody that I knew that listened to No Effects, like that was the bar for No Effects for every album after that. Like everything was based on how good it was compared to Rib.
Yeah.
and most of
yeah.
them fell kind of short.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, they have other really great records that I really like a lot too. But Rib for me is the one that every time if I haven't listened to that in a while and like it pops in my head about Ribbed and I decide I'm going to listen to that, it's always start to finish, never skip. It's like if I want to listen to Ribbed, I'm going to listen to the whole thing every time. And it actually just came to me, I think, like 99% certain that the video that all the entire Ribbed album was in this video was the A1 Meets video.
Right.
There's an old wheel company.
I
A1
was.
Meats.
That's what
You
I was going to
remember
say.
them?
I think they're. I remember the name. I skated GNS shit.
Yeah, I forget the name of the
knob.
video, but I'm pretty certain it was the A1 Meets video where the No Effects Ribbed album was in, like pretty much the whole thing. And taking it back to No Effects, I mentioned this the last time I was on here that I bought a concert ticket that was the most expensive concert ticket that I have ever bought in my life.
Oh my God! Did you get a public and drunk or whatever?
I got a No Effects ticket for the final night.
It's pretty badass.
And
nobody is going to dog you for that.
And I'll tell the quick little story. I have had multiple times to see them over the years, especially living out here. They play like every year and a half out here, and it'd be one of those things like I know they play all the time, and I just got lazy about going to see them. And then like 2 years ago, they played San Diego, but they were doing like a special show where they were playing like this weird set of only certain songs off like this one record or something. So they weren't going to play like it wasn't the whole catalog. It was like a very specific set. I was like, I don't really want to see that. I'm going to wait till they come around for like a full regular show. And then that's where we're at right now. And then I find out that they're, finally breaking up or whatever. And I'm like, oh man, dude, like if I don't get to see them, that's actually going to kind of like really bum me out. And I just happened to randomly find out that a friend of mine is going to that final show. And we were talking about No Effects one night, and he's like, like whatever that we like No Effects and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I've never seen him, and I've always wanted to see him. And yeah, he was just like, dude, he's like, you have to go. He was like, you have to go. He's like, you can, and they were like renting a place up in LA and stuff.
Right.
So he's like, you can just like come up and stay with us, and we'll all go to the show together. So because I almost wasn't going to go, but once I found out I didn't have to drive and have a place to stay, I was like, I think I might actually pull the trigger on getting a ticket. And I didn't even know how much they were. So I got on the little website and was pricing out tickets. And oh man, I was like, fuck, dude, like, do I want to spend this much to see No Effects? Like, it seems like a lot of money to see No Effects. And it honestly, it took me like a few hours to like really contemplate it. So I was like, I really have always wanted to see them, and this is literally my last chance. And it's the final show. It's just like seemed fitting all the years I've dodged them, and then like my time finally seeing them is the last night. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna pull the trigger. It's $250.
Look, and now talking to Blythe, and it doesn't. Yeah, but that's a whole lineup. That's not just them. I know.
It's like the whole.
That's
like
it sounds.
a bunch of bands.
Sounds. Yeah, it sounds. I'm not even going to bitch about that.
So I'm
honestly, I pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, I kind of just weighed all the pros and cons. I was like, I know, it seems like a lot of money, but if I don't do it, I know I'm eventually going to be like, you dumb motherfucker, why didn't you just fucking go to that? Like,
yeah,
who cares?
No, totally.
Like, yeah, $250 could be used for cooler shit, maybe, but I don't know. I want to be able to like say that I saw them, and they're playing like a 40-song set.
So dude, I was like, what's the fucking cost of that memory? I think it's more than $250.
Yeah, I think so too. And now that I know I'm going, I'm actually like really excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we were late, so we missed at least half their set. They were opening for Fishbone. And we saw him way back when at Hammer Jacks. But yeah, that's a long time ago.
So another thing too that I want to talk about from you and Gavin's
Oh,
podcast.
you're starting to fucking giggle.
Oh man, you guys are cracking me up. So what was funny is he fucking called you out so perfectly, and I was disappointed that he didn't take it further to like fuck with you more, because he fucking had you dead to rights on this one, and you like changed the subject.
Oh yeah. Here, let me tell you why he didn't fucking drill it home. Because he lives here for fucking free.
Yeah, that's probably a big part of it. But so you guys were talking about Agent Orange and like all that kind of stuff associated with them. But the thing that was funny to me is how he called you out for basically being like an unemotional human being, and that you were saying that you don't like lyrics that talk about your feelings and emotions, and that he is the opposite and that he enjoys that. And I thought that was funny because like I feel like he and I are similar like that. And then you were talking about that Agent Orange, how much you liked it, and he said about that song, was it on No Such Thing as Love?
Yeah,
Because he was like, how do you fucking like that song? It's like that song is literally like all about emotion. And you were, and like, yeah, you just like
so he shit on me. Did I just, you know what? It probably did. I don't think I probably ever thought about the fact that it was even about, well, I guess I did. Just
you were so lacking in feeling that you couldn't even tell a love song was a love song. Amanda, you poor girl.
Oh my God. Yeah. I think she already knows she is hooked up with a pretty useless turd.
Oh my God. But yeah, anyway, I thought that was really funny.
But it was a discussion. Is like, I mean, that album I think does fall short, because I don't think those songs that we talked about, they don't add to that album. They should have. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys kind of shit on. You guys shitted on This Is the Voice a little bit, and that kind of pissed me off because I think that.
Oh yeah, is
awesome.
that a perfect record?
I don't know. No, I don't. It's not perfect, but I do like that record though.
I do like that record, and that's one that when I was younger, I couldn't listen to something else after it, like it was a repeater, because like the mood and vibe that record sets, like I couldn't, out of my catalog, I could not find something to replicate that kind of vibe. And I mean, because there are a couple of songs I fucking love on there, but there are a couple.
No, I know. There's definitely a couple not such great ones on there, but well, another one, you guys. I think this is kind of the last one I wrote down that was one I actually didn't think of on my own, and I hated that I didn't think of this one on my own. But you guys brought up Dayglow Abortion's "Fetus of Fetus." I was like, how is that not on my perfect record list? I'm fucking blowing it, because that's like one of the best records of all time.
So, but I think that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because you probably know better. Was that 2 records combined, or is it just 2 recording sessions combined?
Oh,
because if you look at Liners,
actually not familiar about that at all.
I don't think they're not recorded at the same time.
Maybe.
Don't you have your fucking vinyl arsenal laying right beside you, Captain Kumquat?
Yeah, I could look it up.
This is. That's your failing. I got this one for you too. Yeah, like that's what I feel is happening with your index of records.
I got
God, the fact that you have it fucking earlier is awesome.
Well, it is in alphabetical order after all. All right, let's take a look.
All right, so kids, Uncle Evil is now looking at the back of the album, and he's getting ready to prove me wrong.
No, I don't think so. I think you were absolutely right. Side 1 recorded 1985, Legacy Studios, Victoria, British Columbia. Side 2 recorded 1981, Legacy Studios, engineer Tony Moscow. So yeah, I did not know that about this record, that they were two different sessions.
Well,
Does that change it being not a record though?
so where I guess
Were they
the
released
question?
before?
Yes, that's my question.
Yeah, I don't know
Like,
that. Maybe
were
a
they
couple of
released
them?
like as 7 inches, and then this is like the 7 inches combined, then put on vinyl? Because there was a couple of them we were talking about. I think that I was leery to actually say they were perfect because they had already been released as records, and or were kind of combined to get there.
So maybe Feed Us a Fetus is sort of a compilation, and I never knew that. I'm still gonna call it a perfect record in my world, even if it doesn't count in the game. I'm still calling it a perfect record. Well, and the thing is too, like I would, I'm not saying you're wrong, but hypothetically, I would say I would agree with you more if side A and side 2 sounded drastically different from each other. But to me, the songs don't really sound that different in recording quality. So I never even could tell that they were from a different session. So
I just think I've looked at the record that many times that
Yeah.
it fucking registered at some point. Like 7 Seconds New Win, they're two different. Well, they're not two different records, but they were definitely recorded at two different times, and they're kind of interlaced. But that was released as an album. Like, it wasn't released as two separate things, and then they kind of blended together to make it work. So that was the only kind of question. That's it. And I am okay with Dayglow making this list.
Yeah.
What's better than Arg Fuck Kill?
Yeah, man, that whole record's fucking killer, dude.
So as a kid, though, I fucked those lyrics up a shit ton. And I can't remember what they were, but they were like, after I looked at lyric sheets, I was like, I was so fucking wrong. Like,
Happens
Stupid
a
World,
lot.
I'm pretty certain like I had like completely different.
Oh, dude, I'm probably like the world's #1 offender of that situation. I wouldn't even like fucking admit. I think we had an episode where we talked about this, but I have plenty of other ones that I will not share.
Yeah.
They're so bad.
In the Thunder Jeep.
Yeah, exactly. Dirty Deeds in the Thunder Jeep. And hilarious too, speaking of AC/DC, in your episode with Gavin, you kept saying Black and Black instead of Back in Black.
Back in Black. I know.
I was like, what?
I tried to look something up, and I tried to look it up that way. I'm like, I'm a fucking moron. Whatever.
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 Well, an interesting little tidbit I'll share. Useless information that you don't need to know, but I'll give it to you anyway. I picked up a copy of Black Flag's Loose Nut on vinyl last weekend, because that's actually, I think, well, other than like the weird later shit, that was the only one I didn't actually have a physical copy of.
Oh, wow.
On any format. And I got it for $20. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna pick this up. And I haven't listened to that record in a really long time, and it's fucking good, man. I forgot how good that record is. I would say that other than like Damaged, I think Loose Nut is probably like Rollins era Black Flag's best album. But the little tidbit of trivia is that on the back of the record, where it has, their address, where, back in the day, send a self-addressed stamped envelope for a catalog or whatever.
So awesome.
Their address is P.O. Box 1, Lawndale, California. So I don't know. I thought that was like pretty cool. I was like, how did fucking Black Flag get the #1 P.O. box?
It's because there was only one. They put it in just for them.
I mean, Lawndale's not a really big city, but it's big enough that, like, how in the fuck did that happen that they got the first P.O. box?
All right, I'm looking through the songs on it because it's been so long since I've listened to it. That's a pretty good one. I think there might be a couple that I would skip, but Maybe not.
See, I even thought that when I bought it. I was like, I kind of remember there being some skippers on here. But
I
honestly,
think
I don't know.
Modern Man's a little weak, and Sinking, I think, is the one that I'm like, it's triggering in my head. Nope.
100% disagree with you on that. That song is
Alright.
so sick. But Modern Man, I feel you on that. I like that song, but I in my head when I bought this, I was like, oh, it's $20, whatever. I'll just get it so I can have a copy of it. And I was thinking there was skippers on there. And when I brought it back and listened, because I haven't probably heard that record in the
Fuck,
whole
it's
way
been a
through in
while.
probably 20 years. And I put it on and I was like, dude, this is fucking sick. I either forgot how good it was or I'm hearing it with fresh ears and my current mindset is vibing on it in a different way. But I was
Yeah, maybe I need to.
yeah, that's an awesome record.
So I was thinking, do you have anything else on your list? I'm gonna throw this at you after you're done looking at
Um,
me, or do you have other things you want to go into?
no, I mean, you guys talked about some other stuff too. I think probably like the last thing I was trying to stick to things that I had thought about, and then he also said, and Speak English or Die was potentially on my maybes list of a perfect record, but then I'll even take it a step further
Oh,
than
you're gonna
that.
hurt me.
And MOD, USA for MOD, like that might be a perfect record in my mind. I've always really loved that record. And I don't know if it's still a perfect record to me, but I'd have to listen to it again because I haven't heard it in a while. But that was definitely a perfect record for me for a really long time.
Yeah, that's funny. I just saw a picture of them on Instagram. Something showed up, and I'm like, oh my god.
Just USA for MOD though. There's some like good songs later throughout their career, but as a whole record, front to back, the first one's the only one that I think like does it for me.
Well, that sounds awesome. I can't argue with that. I didn't listen to it, and I think I always was of the mindset listening to it. I was like, this is just Billy Milano has always irritated me, just
Yeah.
because he makes fun of fucking fat people, and it's like, motherfucker, dude, look in the fucking mirror before
Yeah.
you fucking judge somebody else. It's like, it always fucking burnt my ass. Is like, how can you make fucking fun of somebody?
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to say that he's, a great guy and that I agree with everything he says, but I definitely still love that record though. Well, the final thing I'll say,
I didn't have that. That would have been awesome.
yeah, you need to add that. But the thing that I really took away from the podcast with you guys that stuck out as something to bring up, and I don't necessarily think we should go into it today, but just to say it out loud, so maybe this could be something we think on to come back with some more examples. But Gavin brought up about how he was going to hurt my feelings because he doesn't like the Meatmen record Savage Sagas as much as I do. But his reasoning was that he didn't think Tesco sounded the same. And that was funny because to me, I didn't pick up on that at all. But after he said that, I was like maybe I could see that his voice is a little different. I like see where he's coming from, but he made the comment about not maybe not liking certain bands as much when like if the Masterpiece record was recorded when the singer was like a teenager and
Oh,
then
dude.
this, like now if the band's still playing and homie's like a grown man and his voice is like different, like he made the comment about like he
Mike
doesn't
Muir.
like them as much because he wants to hear the teenage voice, but that just doesn't exist anymore. I was like, that's like a really interesting thought process. And I was like, there's got to be like lots of bands like that. And I just,
Yeah, that one might be one we have to dig up and work on a little bit.
yeah,
Mr. Cook, I point you out to start prepping for that episode as well.
yeah, like people's voices who changed like dramatically from like what their voice was that got you hyped. And like now it's like, I would say that and I'm not the biggest fan of this version of the band either, which we've talked about, but I think the first example that comes to mind for me is original TSOL, which is also current TSOL, he doesn't sound the same at all.
Dude, he fucking chugs down cigars all the time.
Really?
Dude, there's got to be nothing there. Yeah. Unless that's off the side on fucking Instagram. Dude, that's all he talks about is going out, sitting on his porch, smoking cigars. Like,
yeah, I think his voice and not even necessarily like from that angle, but I think just the way he sang on the first couple records was definitely probably had more of that squatter punk, like teenage raspiness goth, where like now it's just like adult male cigar goth. So it is different.
That's an awesome fucking category. Oh my god!
Just created a new genre of music.
Fucking classic. Oh
yeah, but
so
anyway,
I totally hear that, and I haven't tried to listen to any of their new stuff because I think I might cry. Like I feel, but I think a lot of those guys, they can't hit the notes. But I also think about the fact that, the time of the music and when it was recorded, where those vocals, and there's it was. I'm trying to think what band it was. I swear to God, back when we used to listen to the metal station on XM, when they would do like super early, it's going to be a funny one, Bon Jovi, but he, like the first album, he did like all these squealy, like, just, they were fucking vocals of the time.
Yeah.
Like the high, all the like fucking
in
shit.
Between verses doing like a screechy
like
thing.
Screechy squeals. And you're like, what the it was like, and it dated the record. And I just wonder, just pushing that back, was that part of the time too? Yeah. But even like Haunting the Chapel and Hell Awaits, there's some squealy dealies coming out.
Yeah.
Of fucking Tom Araya. Like there's definitely.
Well, and like I'll never on that note, I'll never forget this. King Fowley, the drummer and singer of Deceased, I was with Gene at some show or somewhere, and like King was there, and we were like all hanging out talking. And I remember him making the comment about somehow someone was like talking about Rain and Blood or something. And he basically was like, he was not into Rain and Blood at all. Like pretty much for him, it was like Hell Awaits was like the final definitive Slayer record. And like after that, like they turned to garbage from his point of view. So I was like, I thought that was really crazy. So it's like you're saying, it's very much something of the time. Like Hell Awaits was kind of like the final, like squealy, like,
oh yeah,
like Judas Priest vibing version of the band, and then they went full like that's not happening anymore.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I'm on a hardcore in a Facebook group for like I think it's called like Worldwide Hardcore or something, and there has been this fucking Slayer run, and I'm like, I'm so done with social media, and if somebody is just they keep fucking with I guess the people in the group. Because I keep posting all this Slayer stuff. And this isn't hardcore, though. Half the shit they post, I'm like, dude, that's not hardcore. I was like, and it's so funny that we will have this conversation of coming up where we talk about what that is. Because like there's guys defining what that is. And I was like, I don't know if I agree with your fucking dictionary answer of what that is. And then the fucking, oh my God, they fucking ripped on, there's just this back and forth about Slayer, but somebody dropped the fucking covers album they did. And they're like, dude, they're just as hardcore as, all these other shit bands that you guys keep throwing up here. Yeah. Like they did a list of bands that you would pay money to see. And I looked at Amanda's like, I wouldn't pay money to see any of these fucking bands. Like they're all garbage. Like I don't know if it's just to keep are you just continuing generating content to generate content? You know, it's one of
Yeah.
those like I'm just going to keep garbage and garbaging shit out of my mouth, and since I'm getting positive and negative feedback on these, and there's just people fucking rambling on this, that I'm just going to keep fucking stroking the fire. Just funny is the fact that we were talking about Slayer so heavily here late, and then it was just like it showed up on this board, and it it is just a thorn in somebody every second person's side.
All you have to comment on that board to shut that shit down is just post that Jeff Hanneman is the best punk rock hardcore guitarist not in a punk rock hardcore band.
Oh my god, it should be. It's once again, everything's so subjective, and people just get so amped up, and it's like, fuck. People it's more like go get a life, go do something instead of worried about what's fucking being posted on the board and whether it's hardcore enough and not for you.
Gotta love that.
Fuck.
I have one final thing I wanted to comment on or talk about that is kind of like an update on something we talked about previously. But I ended up going record shopping last weekend when I bought that Black Flag. I also was able to pick up a copy of the X Cops record on vinyl.
Did you pay through the fucking nose for it like I did?
So there's a record store day exclusive, and I didn't even think they'd have any left. And they still had two. So they probably didn't even sell the two that they got. So
yeah, that's what I was thinking about the one I got. That was probably the lone star in that whole thing.
Yeah, so I was
Go
like,
ahead,
I
I'm
can't
sorry.
imagine there's like a whole lot of people like clamoring to get that X Cops on record store day, but I was like, who knows though? So anyway, I did get a copy, and yeah, it was pretty expensive. It was $35,
I think you did
but
better than I did.
I don't know. I was like, I got to pull the trigger on this because I just wanted like, 'cause my CD is pretty scratched up, and that CD is actually like not cheap to get. So I was like, if I just get the record, I'll at least have like a backup copy. And what I actually didn't know about it is if it was any type of a remix or a remaster, because we talked about that when we brought it up a few weeks back. So I got it here back to the house, opened it up, and I got my CD out, and I put the CD in, and I listened to the record. I listened to side A the whole way through, and then I went, and the first thing I noticed about it was that I had to turn my volume knob up way louder than normal to hear most music on my stereo. So I was like, oh man,
Right.
like what did they do to this? They like fucked it up, like fucked up the mastering or something. So I like turned it up. And at first I was like, this does sound different, but I wasn't 100% certain if it was, just that it was on vinyl or whatever. So I got the CD, put the CD in, and I queued it up so I could A and B the record between the CD. And the CD is way louder than the record, but they definitely did something to the recording. And because I kept like A and Bing like back and forth, and the CD was like way louder and like way too much bass. Felt really really bass heavy. And I feel like maybe that's one of the reasons why when we talked about it before, I think I mentioned that record always seemed a little like raw to me, like not quite demo bad, but just like a step above demo, but in a good way. But it was kind of rough. Whatever they did to the vinyl version, and then I ended up doing some research after the fact, and it turns out they did like have some big wig like mastering dude like remaster the record. And so I guess there must have been something where what he did to make the corrections had to like lower the overall volume or something. But dude, that vinyl, man, they brought that fucking record to life. it sounds so much more killer on the vinyl than the CD.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
my
I'm going to have to
God.
go downstairs and listen to it.
It's like a completely different record. It honestly, it sounds really, really fucking good. Like, I can't even think of a time, because I've talked about this. I don't normally like when shit gets remastered. I usually am kind of against it. And this is maybe the first record I've ever gotten where the remaster just, it sounds infinitely better than the original.
So there are, like, I wonder if they ran into, and I'm not completely talking out of my ass, but there are limits to bass and treble that happen within vinyl. Like, you can't,
Yes.
there are certain parameters you can't pass. And I wonder if that original, like how it was mastered for CD, if it would have just your fucking needle would have just blown out of the record every time it came around.
Totally, because like the record groove's like a V and the needle like sits inside. So if there's too much bass, it like bounces around and like
Pops them out.
Yeah. So that could be very possible that the original just wouldn't even have been able to be put on vinyl without skipping. But whatever
crazy.
Yeah, whatever they did to it, super stoked, because I've always really, really loved that record a lot. And like now it's even like, I probably won't even listen to the CD ever again now.
You got to be fucking making a tape.
Yeah.
Put in a car.
Maybe. That's actually a really good topic. What is the and you don't have to answer now, think on it, but maybe we'll come back to this at some point. But what is the record that would make you love it so much that it would make you put a tape deck back in your car just to listen to that original tape again?
So I had so before the advent of streaming, I could tell you exactly what it was. Is I had a copy of Faction No Hidden Messages and couldn't find that shit anywhere.
Yeah.
Love that fucking record. And that, if things would not have progressed, that would be my first answer. Like, that's like, I know that like there were tapes I wouldn't get rid of. And I know you're not a fan, but I had a copy of the Drunk Engines, My Dad Butch, which was only 4 songs.
Okay.
And I had a fucking cassette copy of it. Never got rid of it until they put the thing out on with Jello on Alternative Tentacle.
Mm-hmm.
So, I held on to. There are definitely tapes I fucking held on to, like, because I knew I couldn't find it. What I want to find, if you remember back in the day, is Madman put out this fucking cassette for. There was some band out of Ohio called Burnt Weenie Sandwich, which is a Zappa reference.
Yeah, I remember that band. People talking about that band for back in the day.
And it's not on YouTube. And I fucking made a copy of my cassette, and I think I've let the cassette go away, but the CD burn. It's like fucking. It doesn't read, and I'm so fucking irritated with myself. Like, there is a reason that there is a tape deck / CD player that was brought back into this house.
Yeah.
Now it's Gavin's, but I almost want to buy my fucking own.
Well, speaking of Madman, we can end on this because this is crazy since we've been talking about records and stuff.
Rip Clit, Brown Cloud. No,
you're reading my mind right now. You ready for me to drop the craziest story on you?
Fire away.
So Jason Lewis sent me a message the other day. He picked up some like Guns N' Roses record shopping, and like got the record back to his house. And I don't know if he knew it at the time or didn't find it till he got back, but when he was like pulling the record out, inside this Guns N' Roses record was a copy of the RC Brown Cow 7-inch.
That is awesome.
Like in a random fucking Guns N' Roses record.
Oh shit, that is fucking awesome.
I was like, dude, I'm so fucking jealous. Like, what an epic come up. Like that's such phenomenal. A rare fucking record, and to find it that way, like that's fucking cool.
I think I traded mine to Heath. Like I put that shit on and I was like, what the fuck? Yeah, I think I traded mine to Heath. I was
Brutal.
like, or I might have just gave it to him.
You didn't know you were like trading away like basically the holy grail of like Western Maryland underground music.
He needs to get on that and make us a fucking a rip of it so we can kick it out. Or has Gene already done that?
I may have all those MP3s. I think I have them. I got them from Ramon, I believe. Have to double check. Well, cool. Well, I think we can wrap up and yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Adios, motherfuckers.
Yep.
This
See
podcast
you
was
next
brought
time.
to you by
Later.
Potty Mouth Records. Contact us at pottymouthrecords@gmail.com and find us on the web at pottymouthrecords.rocks. That's .rocks.
POTTYCAST. Podcast. Ba-da.